Hello, my friends. We at Shareable News are always looking for the best and most exciting stories of overcoming challenges filled with purpose and inspiration for our subscribers, as well as seeking to shine a light on people who are looking for help and a second chance at life. And we remember those people who will never be forgotten, like Connie Culp, a devoted wife and mother who survived a serious accident, losing her nose, cheeks, mouth, and right eye. She lived for 5 years with an irreparable deformity, until by a miracle she became the first American to undergo a face transplant and the fourth person in the world. Connie was a loving mother and an advocate for burn survivors and others. Her legacy of courage and love for others was inspiring. Connie Culp was born on March 26, 1963. She was married and a devoted mother to Steve and Alicia. Connie Culp never imagined she would make history. For years, Connie and her husband Tom ran a finishing business together, doing drywall, painting, and wallpapering. They renovated department stores, restaurants, and schools in Ohio and West Virginia with the help of their daughter, Alicia, and their son, Stephen. Then, on Connie's 41st birthday, on March 26, 2004, they bought the OK Coral, a restaurant and bar in the neighboring county, in a town called Hopdale. Their marriage was facing problems and, unfortunately, took a difficult turn. Connie met Tom Culp when she was 15 years old and ran away with him a year later. My relationship with Tom was no different from living with my father. He would tell me what to do and I would do it. He treated me badly. My father did the same thing, so I just thought it was a normal way of life, she said at the time. After years of struggling in her relationship, Connie started to stand up for herself. He pressured me and people saw it. And I would stand up and say, "I'm a good person and I don't deserve this," she said. He wasn't used to hearing me. Then, on September 21, 2004, she was hit in the face by her husband. He used a firearm and she lost her nose, cheeks, mouth, and right eye. Hundreds of fragments of lead and bone splinters were embedded in her face. Only the upper eyelids, forehead, lower lip, and chin remained. For 5 years, Connie lived without a face. Then, in December 2008, she received the most extensive face transplant ever performed. After the nearly fatal injury, Connie managed to get down the stairs and find her twin sister Bonnie, who called Connie's daughter Alicia. When Connie was hit, she says she didn't know the extent of her injuries. The incident tore Connie's face off. "I lost my sense of smell. I lost my eye, my nose. They had to wire my jaw shut. I didn't lose any teeth during the incident, but the roof of my mouth deteriorated. So, I lost the entire upper part of my mouth," said Connie. "I could feel my face slipping down." Her ex-husband was convicted in 2005 of aggravated attempted murder and was sentenced to 7 years in prison. Connie forgave her husband at the sentencing. She said on an episode of Oprah that she no longer planned to get back together with her ex-husband after her daughter asked her, "Mom, what kind of example would you be setting for me if you went back to the man who shot you in the face?" She went through at least 30 facial reconstruction surgeries before undergoing the face transplant. Performed at the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio, the operation took place on December 10, 2008, but it was handled humanely and thoughtfully, so she would be shielded from speculation. Connie's identity was only revealed in mid-2009. Surgeon Maria Cimino led a team of doctors in a 22-hour operation that replaced 80% of Connie's face with the face of another woman named Anna Casper, who had passed away a week before the surgery. Her nose was reconstructed, and part of the disfigurement was repaired during the operation. It took 8 surgeons, 4 anesthesiologists, more than 20 nurses, and a long list of technicians and assistants to complete the procedure. Connie spent 12 days in the ICU. She survived 2 minor episodes of rejection. She went weeks without seeing the 2 grandchildren she loved so much. She had to relearn how to speak using the facial muscles of her donor, whose family agreed to the unusual request for the donation of skin and muscles, veins and arteries, teeth and bones that Connie needed. She had to relearn how to walk after days in bed, and she had to relearn how to smell, sniffing coffee, chocolate, and bananas to remind her brain of scents it had forgotten. 58 days after the doctors transplanted her new face, Connie was discharged. She moved to a hotel in Cleveland for the next 3 months so she wouldn't have to travel much for follow-up appointments. Then, on May 5th, 2009, while the cameras were rolling and reporters from all over America waited in silence, not knowing what to expect, Dr. Maria Semino, a surgeon at the Cleveland Clinic who led her transplant team, introduced Connie Culp to the world. Diane Sawyer interviewed her. Oprah did too. Her story appeared in newspapers in Germany and France, in Israel and Iran, and in Singapore and Somalia. In July, 14 months after her press conference, she returned to the clinic for surgery to remove the excess skin that the doctors had left behind so her face could handle the post-surgical swelling and for dozens of biopsies to check for rejection. Surgeons, nurses, teachers, and friends who met Connie during the years she was recovering used the same words to describe her: funny, witty, generous, merciful. They commented on her perseverance, calling her amazing, a role model, a heroine. Connie's transplant was the country's first near-total face transplant and the fourth in the world at that time. Surgeon Maria Semino emphasized that the surgery was not cosmetic, but rather to restore basic functions. The procedure was a historic milestone in medicine. Little by little, Connie regained what she had lost. She was able to smell a flower again, taste food, speak more clearly, and perhaps most importantly, she was able to smile and express her emotions. Even after the incident, Connie never imagined she would have a face transplant. In 2010, Connie met the family of her donor, Anna Casper, from Lakewood, Ohio. Anna's widower, Ron Casper, told the plain dealer that the family agreed to donate her face for Connie's surgery, stating to the newspaper that the main factor was that it was what Anna wanted. Also, in 2010, Connie had her last facial surgery and regained much of her facial function, including the ability to smile, speak, and feel sensations in her face as her facial nerves grew back. Connie told CNN that year that she was happy with the transplant. "Now I can smell," she said. "I can eat steak, I can eat almost any solid food, so everything is getting better." Connie became blind, but she said she could distinguish shadows. Despite the new physical attributes, Connie said she felt the same as before. She worked for years as an advocate, promoting understanding of burn survivors and others with disfigurements. Connie overcame her shyness and gave lectures to groups throughout the Midwest. On one occasion, she spoke to 180 transplant surgeons and researchers at a meeting of the American Society of Reconstructive Transplantation in Chicago. She gave lectures to encourage more people to become organ and tissue donors. She would help domestic violence prevention groups in the same way if they asked. That's how she wanted to be remembered, as someone who stood up for other women. But unfortunately, her journey came to an end. Connie's daughter Alicia Cup posted on social media on July 23, 2020 that her mother was ill. Then, on July 29, 2020, Connie passed away after contracting an infection unrelated to the face transplant. She was 57 years old. Frank Pape, president of the Cleveland Clinic's Institute of Dermatology and Plastic Surgery, who was part of Connie's surgical team, reflected on her death. Connie was an incredibly brave and vibrant woman and an inspiration to many. Dr. Frank Pape said, "Her strength was evident in the fact that she was the longest living face transplant patient to date," Frank said in a statement. She was a great pioneer, and her decision to undergo a sometimes frightening procedure is a lasting gift to all of humanity, he added. She was not just a patient. She became a beacon of resilience and hope for the world. Her courage in facing the public eye and sharing her journey opened the doors for dozens of other face transplants, showing that science, driven by empathy, can rebuild lives. She passed away, but her legacy is eternal in the history of medicine and in the hearts of all who were inspired by her strength. Rest in peace, Connie. If you enjoyed our tribute and Connie's incredible journey of perseverance, don't forget to click like, comment, and share this video, strengthening our work in sharing real stories of resilience and hope with more and more people. Thank you for watching the video up to this point, and see you next time. Watch the recommended video.
Watch the dubbed video. Mira el video doblado.吹き替え版の動画を見てね. شاهد الفيديو المدبلج. 더빙된 영상 봐. Regarde la vidéo doublée. Schau dir das synchronisierte Video an. Guarda il video doppiato. Смотри дублированное видео. Dub kiya hua video dekho. Dublajlı videoyu izle. Tonton video yang sudah didubbing.